Hey besties, Monica Ferguson here, and welcome to World Domination. This is a safe space for absolute legends who are bold enough and brave enough to go within, to recreate their belief system, to aim high, to chase their wildest dreams and become everything that they are destined to be. This is a space for people who are serious about growth, about healing. We talk about all things mind, body, spirit, and we have the courage to go further than most people even dare to dream. Welcome, let's get into it. Hey, besties, Monica Ferguson here, and welcome to this week's episode where I'm so grateful to be bringing Jan Haldane back to you. Now, she is a master hypnotherapist and trauma-informed coach, a certified counselor, master practitioner of NLP, a speaker, a trainer, and author. She has dedicated her entire professional life to helping people find happiness and purpose, and she specializes in assisting people to release old traumas and limiting beliefs and reclaim their lives. Now, if you really want to learn about narcissism, narcissistic healing, scroll back and we've done several episodes together which go really deep into that. Today's episode is really focused on the children of narcissists, what that does to you, how it affects you, how it impacts you, and ways that you can actually start healing it and releasing it so that it doesn't impact you for the rest of your life in a negative way. So without further ado, let's get into it, and please send us your aha moments. We love to hear what resonates with you guys. I hope you enjoy. See you in there. Jan Haldane, welcome back.
Thank you so much for having me, Monica. It's great to be back again.
I'm so excited for this episode. So excited. It's been brewing for about a week. Was it about a week ago? I think I messaged you. I had this like lightning bolt inspiration. When inspiration strikes, you follow it. And we just need to jump straight in because there's a lot for us to discuss. So, as I mentioned, I've recently purchased and started reading your book, The Narcissistic Mother, which, take a guess how many pages until I started crying.
Oh, not many. Not many. I mean, did you get past chapter one?
No, no. I got to page 9, which was like the introduction. And I actually took down some notes because I feel like so many people in this podcast are going to see themselves in this. In this little blurb that you've written here, I just feel like it's the most validating, beautiful, warm hug of a paragraph that a lot of people are going to see themselves in. So I thought I'd read this first and then we can kind of discuss from there. That's all good with you?
All good with me.
Okay, so this is what you said. This is page 9 for anyone listening. So, many survivors of narcissistic abuse spend years feeling broken, wondering why they can't just get over it. But the truth is, healing from this kind of upbringing isn't about willpower. It's about understanding the mechanisms of abuse and systematically dismantling their hold on your life. Boom, so good. That's me, by the way, not the book. One of the biggest hurdles survivors face is the societal myth that all mothers are inherently loving. This cultural narrative can make it even harder to acknowledge the truth about a narcissistic parent. You may have been told to forgive and forget or to be grateful for what you had, but real healing begins when you allow yourself to name the harm and grieve what you didn't receive. This book will help you navigate that grief without shame. And oh my gosh, is that accurate? I'm about 3 chapters deep so far, and I've filled up half a notebook with just words that jumped out at me and phrases. And I just love this so much. And like I was saying to you before we started, something that I think is just so beautiful about your work is the way that you remove shame from the conversation. I think there's so much of that, right, in this sort of personal development, spiritual healing world where it's like, be like, just move on, just focus forward, just get over it, like that kind of vibe. And so for you to actually validate the emotion, I just found that so powerful. Like, actually, it was that bad, and we're allowed to sit with that. Because I think as it goes on to the book, you speak about gaslighting and stuff. It's like we all have that tendency to sort of question, was it actually that bad? Did I just make it up? And because we were all told you're too sensitive, you're too much, you're dramatic, whatever, it creates this bizarre narrative in your mind. So, yeah, where do we even begin from there?
Well, I think you've hit on something really important there, Monica, and this is one of the things that really gets on my wick. Is the shame that people carry is not really their own shame. It's come from these things that happened to them where they weren't validated. And the sad thing is, as you say, that they're still not being validated by a lot of people. And the whole thing about victim blaming is huge in the world at the moment, and the abuser, there seems to be always excuses made for them. And I mean, I've had that said to
Yes.
me. I've read out like I don't know, a page of something from, say, The Narcissistic Mother or one of my other books. And I think it was actually The Narcissistic Mother. And someone in my writing group said to me, "Oh, I wonder what happened to your mother when she was young." And it was like, yeah, well, it probably was something bad. And, I acknowledge that. I don't know for certain what it was. I think it was something quite bad, but that's not a license to abuse. And so, too often, people can't handle, and this includes some coaches and therapists, they can't actually handle people's emotions, I suppose, is the bottom line. And so it's all this, you're supposed to just get over it and move on. Well, unfortunately, we know now, after reading books like The Body Keeps the Score, that that just doesn't happen. Healing is a process and it's not linear. So it's okay to have emotions. It's okay to, I don't know whether I want to say it's okay to have shame, but it is okay to have shame. It's sad that you have shame, but it's not your shame. So the whole healing journey is about learning how to unravel, I suppose, like a piece of knitting, sort of unraveling that and getting down to what really happened. And the first part of that is actually understanding the dynamics and the patterns of behavior that go with narcissistic mothers and toxic families.
Yeah, 100%. And I love that, like you speak about this in the book as well, internalized shame. Because I think that's one of the worst things that we take away, right? Because it doesn't just go away. Like we can remove ourselves from the toxic situation, but then we carry this feeling of like not being good enough, not being worthy, being inherently broken. And then until we actually confront it, it just runs in the background, controlling us. But then, yeah, then you have a bunch of coaches that are like, oh no, just think positively and like don't face things. And I know for me, like nothing changed until I was willing to ugly cry on the floor and actually hold myself with so much compassion and be like, oh my God, that actually happened to me. And that was awful. And that hurt me so much. And that was it. Just allow that to be there, allow it to be felt. Because for so long I blame myself, right? Which I think is probably what a lot of us do. Like, obviously, so I'm not good enough, and that's why they treated me like that or whatever. But like the surface level stuff just doesn't even come close.
Oh, it does. And the whole blame yourself thing, that's part of the dynamic. Everything is your fault. Whether that's with a narcissistic mother, partner, boss, whatever, they always try and make it your fault because it can never be theirs. And so, from a very young age, you are actually that's drummed into you. So I guess it's like compounding a suggestion in hypnosis. So it actually sticks there in your subconscious mind, and then it does run in the background, as you just said, like some kind of malware or virus or whatever. There's probably better ways of saying that, but you know what I mean. It's there. You're not seeing it, but it's running in the background because in your developmental years, say 1 through to 7, when basically you live in a more or less a trance state anyway, and that's why you learn so quickly. This has been that suggestion or idea has been compounded, and basically, yeah, it's stuck in there, and it takes a lot of work to get rid of it. Just move on. No, you move on, but you've still got that computer virus running in the background.
Yeah, yeah. Totally. Okay, so can we go back to kind of the beginning, just establish our foundation a little bit? Because I know we've got previous episodes where we've talked about narcissism in general, but this particular episode is really around having a narcissistic parent and for the child to heal, you know? So I'm just curious, like, what are the specific traits of a narcissistic parent, just so people can sort of put that together?
Well, if I put it in a nutshell, because I mean it's huge, I could ramble on for the next hour, which I'm not going to do. A narcissistic parent, actually, they're always going to put themselves first, where generally most parents put their kids first. But to a narcissistic parent, the child is like an extension of themselves. They don't see them or don't tend to see them as their own person. You know, a child is a person. So, yeah, and I mean, if it gets to the stage where there's ruptions in the family or there's a breakup or whatever, the kids are used as pawns in the game. And it's really, really horrible and unbelievable sometimes how these kids are treated. They're just not, the love is not there at all. I mean, anything that's called love is usually conditional on the children doing what the narcissistic parent wants them to do or fulfilling whatever role they've been assigned in that family, i.e., the scapegoat, the golden child, the silent child. There's quite a few of them, and they can be quite interchangeable. So even though the golden child might sound wonderful, it isn't always wonderful.
Yeah. Yeah, totally. Yeah, in your book you spoke a lot about that as well. And I was playing with the idea of was I the golden child or the scapegoat? I'm like, I was actually all three. I've played all three of those roles at various times. Okay, cool. So my next thought was so this book is about a narcissistic mother. Is there a difference between a narcissistic mother versus father? How do they operate? Is there a difference between men and women?
Well, there is. I mean, there'll be differences in how they operate, but the dynamic in a lot of ways is the same. I mean, the child is not a person themselves. The child is there to be an extension of the parent, be that male or female or any other gender for that matter. And so a lot of the behaviours are the same. I mean, you know, men do exactly the same thing. They use kids as pawns in the game. Um, it might just be a slightly different way of doing it or showing it, which is the difference in the way the genders behave in general. But yeah, we could call this book more or less the narcissistic parent and
Yeah.
change
Yeah. Yeah,
change
yeah.
pronouns around. But yeah, yeah.
So interesting. Okay, so let's get into the impact. So for a kid that grew up with a narcissistic mother or father, or as you mentioned in the book as well, like there might be one narcissistic parent and then the other one who's an enabler who likely was sort of abandoning or avoidant themselves. So usually, would it be safe to say, probably in a likely scenario, we've got one narcissistic parent and one parent who was absent. So we were sort of wounded by one that was like present and hurt us, and the other one we were wounded by what they didn't do, the protection they didn't offer us. Um, so like, where do we even begin with the impact of growing up in a house like that?
Well, I grew up in a house like that. So and I know quite a few people that did,
Me
you
too.
know, on a personal
Yeah.
and a professional level. And so, well, where do you start? So the person who is the enabler, in which case was my father, of course, is um, beaten down, I suppose, by the narcissist, not physically, certainly in the case of my parents, but mentally beaten down. So they're trying to keep the peace at all costs. So they can't really defend the child. And they're often treated so terribly themselves. And so often we do see a difference here because if the enabler is a woman, she's often terrified of the man who is her partner. Like really, really, this could be a DV situation or whatever. When there's so many scenarios, but yeah, so that person is actually on some level scared of the other person because they know that there will be consequences of some kind if they don't toe the line.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Oh, totally. Yeah, yeah. And I think like because we speak so much about, and this whole podcast is all about subconscious mind, right? So, we can think like I'm thinking about the impact at a deeper level that this has on us because as I've shared in every other podcast episode and with you as well, even outside of our podcasts, like this hits so close to home. Exactly the same as you. I had the same, the narcissistic mother, the dismissive avoidant father. So you were taught, right? Like just so many of these wounds and these beliefs have come up. The more work that I've done on myself, the layers that you just keep peeling back, like the shame, the unworthiness, the fear of rejection, the fear of abandonment, the feeling not good enough. And what I wrote, there were two things that I wrote in my notes that I circled here. One
Right.
was one was hypervigilance, and the other one was internalized shame. And
Yes.
so I would love for you to speak about both of them. And because I feel like I'll speak for myself anyway. This has been years of healing to unpack the feeling of not being safe in the world. And of course, like being in business is like personal development on crack, right? Because you are forced to confront every fear of letting people close to you, being seen, feeling safe, feeling worthy of receiving money and clients and all that kind of stuff. So I'm just so curious, like hypervigilance and internalized shame. If we could speak about those, that would be amazing.
Okay, well, let's hit with internalized shame. So the fact is that the narcissistic parent wants you to feel shame because that suits them. If you feel that you really don't um, belong in the world, or actually, I'll hit you with something that my ex husband said to me, and this will give you an idea. How do you justify your existence? So, yeah, yeah, and I was breastfeeding a newborn baby at the time. How do you justify your existence? So that is a toxic father, because obviously toxic father of
Yeah.
all children. And anyway, so yeah, they want you to. They're trying to wear you down, trying to wear you down on every single level.
Mhm.
So they want you to feel shame. So they will say things that make you feel that you are not good enough, that you're not worthy. Um,
Yeah.
deliberate,
So
deliberately. It's not an accident.
no. Can I just jump in here for a minute? Because this was literally what prompted me to reach out to you last week about this episode. I was in meditation and this memory popped into my head that I hadn't thought about for a decade. And I'm no contact with my mum for a couple of years now. This memory popped up and it was from about 10 years ago when I was really struggling. So I had psoriasis at the time. I was so stressed out. I was covered, my whole body head to toe. It was gory. Like I'd wake up in the morning, there's blood in my sheets. It was so disgusting. Like my body was so stressed out. And we were sitting at my dining room table and I was telling her like how I was feeling. And she looks me dead in the eye and she says, "You just like to drag everyone down into your misery." That's what she said to me in that moment. And I forgot about that until last week. And I was like, oh, yeah, that actually happened. Like, that was actually my life. Like, I'm literally bleeding. And she's literally bleeding. And she's like, 2 minutes in, I don't give a shit. Like, you are just selfish. I was like, but then you'd get shamed for not sharing and be called selfish if you didn't share. But if you did share, you'd get shamed. So that shame, it just hits. No matter what you do or what you say, it's always wrong, right? Because there's no winning, because they don't want you to win. They're not on your side. You're not a team trying to repair and trying to build a relationship. This is your biggest hater, like your bully. Anyway.
Exactly. And they, yeah, it's all done purposely, deliberately. They don't care. Like, I mean, obviously, she didn't care that you were bleeding. And I mean, it must have been terribly uncomfortable and all the rest of it. But no, because it's not happening to her. If it was happening to her, it would be the worst thing in the world. And you would
Yeah.
be expected, to drop everything probably and you run around after
Yeah.
or whatever. So yeah, I mean, you've nailed it. They don't care. I mean, you're of use to them. You're useful in some way, shape, or form. Whether it's because they felt that they needed to have kids to be part of, look good in society or whatever. But actually caring about you on a deep level, no, it doesn't happen. It's all about them. So hypervigilance, if we look at PTSD and CPTSD, which it's often said that complex PTSD is, if you've lived with a narcissist, that's something you get and you become hypervigilant because you are essentially their prey, like a cat with a mouse, and they're watching every move you make. And so
Mm,
everything you do, you get to the stage where you think, oh my God, if I do that, or I look that way, or I breathe that way, or God knows what,
yeah.
is something bad going to happen? Because it has happened before and it has happened over a long period of time. It's not just like being in one traumatic situation, like being in a war zone or something, and then the war's finished. This is something that's gone on for years. So complex PTSD. Obviously, I'm not an expert in that field, but that the hypervigilance is part of that. And when you've lived with someone like that who watched your every move and criticised your every move, and believe me, I have. Wasn't actually my mother, but I have. I have lived with someone like that. And it affects you for years afterwards. And this is the whole thing that people don't understand is that people are affected for years afterwards when they have been spent years with a narcissistic or toxic individual.
Yeah. Boom. Mic drop. And that's exactly why I was like, I have to have you come back because it's that. It's like just because we're out of the environment, those wounds exist until we heal them, right? And this is what I mean, obviously myself, but even, friends of mine, people that I work with, and it's like we're talking about a professional issue or a business issue, but it's all one and the same, isn't it? It's all connected. So, when we dig deep and we uncover something happened that hadn't been resolved, it hadn't been processed, it hadn't been given permission and space to be cried out, felt out, because so often people minimize it. It wasn't that bad, or you just try to move forward or get on with it, or you've never had a safe space where someone actually was able to stay with you in that situation. Because, yeah, people are really uncomfortable with heavy and dark emotions, and I welcome them. I love it. I'm like, bring it on. Like, let's get it out. Let's get it out. And there's this quote that's been popping into my head all morning. And it's something like, shame dies in environments that are safe. How does it go? It's like something like that. It's like, shame dies when we can tell stories in safe spaces. It's something to that effect, when our stories are told in safe spaces. And I think there are very few spaces that are safe. I think, yeah, honestly. And this is why I love what you do so much, because it's like, where else is it? I mean, I'm trying my best now as well, but but outside of that, I feel like it's like our experiences have kind of been a huge contributing factor in the ability that we have to stay with people through that discomfort. We're not going to run from it.
Yeah, and I mean I totally agree. And luckily, there's a lot of people like us in the world today that have are trying to help other people. I think that shame, silence propagates shame basically, and there's so much silence in all these dysfunctional families. You can't talk about anything that happened, and of course that's so you can't let things out. And
Mm,
then who do you tell about it? Because as you say, it's got to be a safe space. It's got to be a safe person though. And I
Yes.
and I said that to someone the other day. I said, it wasn't a client actually, it was someone I've known for quite some time. And I said, there's not always a safe person you can talk to. And she thought about that for a minute and said, actually, you're right. Because it's so many people just can't deal with tough subjects. And so they just, oh, well, get over it. Oh, well, that happened so many years ago or whatever, they
Yes.
can't handle it. And women are as bad as men. I mean, unfortunately,
Yeah.
this is shown statistically. And they just can't. And I mean, we're all going to encounter them. So, yeah, you've got to find a safe person who has enough training. I mean, just life coaching, and I teach life coaching, and so I don't think someone's just a coach at all. But I also say that, there are times when you have to refer out. And something like this, it's not just for moving from where you are now to where you want to be. It's like,
Yeah.
whoa, you've got to get in and deal with the old stuff. So that's probably someone else who actually is trained in that.
Yeah. And also, this might sound like a silly question, but there's probably someone thinking this. So, when you've grown up in a really toxic environment where your needs were constantly dismissed and you were made to feel like a burden, I mean, I was told that I was a burden straight to my face, right? So, me being a very
Mm.
emotional, feeling deep person, really struggled with that as an adult because I didn't know what was normal. Like, I didn't know what a healthy, normal response was. If I come to you and say, Jen, I'm really struggling right now, in my head, I would already be freaking out. I'd be expecting you to say, ugh, get over it, whatever, or not even respond to me, right? But can you actually break it down? Real basics. What is a healthy reaction to something like that? Like, how does a safe person respond to your vulnerability, your needs, your emotions?
Well, I guess it's hard to be definitive about that because you could have a lot of safe people with different ways of being and doing things. I would say a safe person actually listens to you,
Yeah.
actually listens, like reflectively listens for understanding, doesn't listen to respond as quickly as they can get, get a word in edgeways. They listen to you and they hold space for you, I suppose. And I know that's an overused term, but they give you that space to actually to talk, and then they're able to ask you more of the reflective questions, about what happened, and actually cope with it
Mm,
without trying to cut you off, um, tell you what to do. Yeah, I mean that's probably the basis of it. And it's
yeah.
something I remember Gabor Mate saying was, asking people who was still traumatized from their childhood, who did you have to talk to when you were young? And most of them answered nobody. And therein lies really the whole thing, doesn't it? Nobody
Yeah.
to talk to, just had to keep it silence, and in that silence grew the shame and
Yeah.
everything else. Yeah.
Oof, that makes me want to cry. That brought tears to my eyes. I think we did pretty well. I'm like 30 minutes and 25 minutes in, and I haven't cried yet. No, but that is so powerful, isn't it? Because yeah, then we make up stories about what does it mean? If even my parents don't care, obviously I'm not good enough. And then we see that, right? The unworthiness, the shame, the not feeling good enough. Like it's so deep. Um, this is so beautiful though, and I know it sounds basic and like a question of what does healthy look like, but I know for me, I had no idea. Like I really had no idea, and it sounds insane what I'm about to say, but I used to learn from watching Married at First Sight. The therapists how they would speak to people about relationship dynamics and what's healthy, what is fair to expect of your partner, what is mine and what is yours, like all of that. I had no idea because I'd never witnessed that. I'd witnessed domestic violence, narcissistic abuse, dismissive avoidance, like people that just bailed, they used substances, violence, like there was nothing, no talking ever. And so when I had like there are a couple of circumstances, even this morning, I got a text from someone, a voice message from someone, and they started by saying, "Thank you for sharing that with me." And I was like, oh, that is so lovely because old me never got messages like that. And old me could never have received that. Like I would have, and I wouldn't have even shared. I wouldn't have been brave enough to be vulnerable to get that response, you know? Because I was like, protect myself, protect myself, protect myself because everyone hurts me. And so it's this real journey of like learning that not everyone is dangerous, right? Even though you've had all these experiences, there are safe people in the world, but we have to learn how to let them in, which kind of takes me to my next question. How do we do that? Like, I know it's obviously another big question that you could probably speak about for several days, but that, you know, for someone that's starting out, that's starting to recognize themselves in this, thinking, oh my gosh, like I've been so beaten down. I want to start healing. I want to start being able to let healthy people in. How do I even begin?
Well, that's a toughie. It really is because we're taught that people are not safe. It's very hard to see what a healthy relationship actually is, as in a marriage or a partnership. So, coming from that background, how do you trust people? I think it comes, well, for me, I'll just speak from my own perspective, it's come with age. As I've got older and seen more of the world, and I've become more discerning. And I think discernment is the thing. And so if you're looking for someone to speak to, I mean, if it's a professional, then you want someone who actually works in this field in some way, shape, or form, because you know that they understand the dynamics of what goes on in families. Otherwise, people may not, and that's not necessarily the fault of the coach or whoever. It's just that you've got to be discerning and pick the right person. When it comes to friends and family who are safe, well, again, it's discernment. I mean, how much can you tell someone? I'd start off by saying something not nearly as deep as what you'd like to say and see what the reaction is and see if you get, cut off. Oh, just get on with it. Oh, get over it. Oh God, that was 2 years ago type of thing.
Hmm.
Whatever, 20 years ago. So yeah, I mean, discernment, I think, is the key word there. Discernment. If you know somebody is dismissive, or even worse, don't open up to them. We don't have to tell everything to everybody. And that's the other thing I've learned as I've got older is that often you don't tell your story. Or you wait until you get to know someone really well and then you just tell a little bit and see what happens. So
Mm.
that's kind of it, just feed a little bit and see what the reaction is. But meantime, you've been assessing how they react to other people and, because you don't want your situation turning into like toxic gossip, because that's one of the very low vibrational thing, but it happens. So I don't know whether that's answered your question, but yeah,
No, it
the
actually has. It has. And that's exactly a lesson that I learned myself as well. Because what I found sort of like transitioning from toxic dysfunctional family and not having any healthy people into learning how to open up and like let people in was it was not easy, and I fumbled and I met a lot of interesting, let's say, people along the way who really reflected back to me that I needed to seriously level up my discernment, my boundaries, my standards. And one of the issues that I had was that I would go too fast. I would jump into things too quickly, and a lot of it was because I didn't feel safe. So here's a new person in my life. I'm quickly trying to establish safety by going all in, really deep, really fast, without assessing if that person could actually hold that. And oh, 9 times out of 10, they couldn't. So then I'd feel all the feelings again: rejected, abandoned, unworthy, I'm a burden, I'm too much, like all this kind of stuff. And I was like, no, I just have to be way smarter about who's actually willing to hold, who has the capacity. This is a word that's changed my life, capacity. Who has the capacity to meet me here? And we don't know that. Everyone presents themselves as how they want you to see them, but we really don't know who people are until it gets real, right? Until they get triggered, until there's like an uncomfortable conversation that has to happen. That's when we see, are people actually able to lean in and meet us, or do they get defensive, project, run away, attack, that kind of thing?
Exactly. Yeah. And you can't rush into it. It's kind of like assessing how they speak and how they speak about other people. Yeah, so taking longer to trust, and that's perfectly okay. And also recognizing that not everyone does have the capacity, or as I often say, I haven't got the bandwidth for that, which
Yeah.
which might be something different to what we're talking about. But it's like, no, I don't want to take on that. I haven't got the bandwidth for that.
Yeah.
Um, Setting boundaries, yeah, watching people who cross your boundaries. If you set a little boundary, and yeah, it's just it is a bit of trial and error, to be honest.
Yeah.
It, yeah, until I guess I would say that through my life, it's been trial and error. And I used to be a bit more like you, I would try and, well, I gave people too much benefit of the doubt.
Yes. I did the
I,
same. Yeah.
I
Yeah.
think it's been it was an issue with me for quite a bit of my life. Now I tend to be the other way around, very friendly and pleasant. But I'm watching, not in a nasty way, but
Yeah.
I won't say too much to this person until I get the feeling that they might be able to handle something small. But then a lot of people know what I do, so yeah.
Yeah, it's true.
And then a lot of people don't like what I do either, and so they'll keep away from me because there's a fear that I might be able to see through them.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, because not only do I deal with toxic behavioral dynamics, but I'm a hypnotherapist. So, I might be magic. Well, I
Well,
might be able to.
we already know your magic, Jen. That's why you're here, right?
Well, I'm the daughter of a magician. Yeah, I'll take that. They think, yeah, that some way I can see into their minds, or I mean, I don't know, but I've had people actually step back from me,
Yeah.
actually back when I said what I do, and it's so I'm always thinking, well, okay, so that person, there's something about them that they know is toxic, and they don't want me to know it.
Yeah.
So yeah, anyway, we're getting a bit off topic
No.
here.
I love it. But there is something to be said because I'm the same. People get super triggered around me and I don't even have to open my mouth. And I get projected on. I'm like, I've literally not even opened my mouth. But it comes with what I share online and stuff. People get triggered and they project and it's like, okay, well, you're actually showing me who you are. So that's okay. Um, but the more that we grow, that is going to happen, isn't it? Because the more emotional intelligence, the more discernment, the more boundaries, you do notice the contrast. Like it's very loud.
You do, and that's actually good because it shows you who your tribe is and who they're not.
Yeah.
And for everybody, that's a good thing. Not everybody is everybody else's cup of tea in life. Let's face it, because it takes all sorts, as Mum used to say, to make a world. So we're not going to get on with everybody.
Yeah.
Not everybody is going to like us. And I think that's something too that we have to really be able to take on board because after what we've come from, it's so many of us become people pleasers because that's how we survived. And so we think it's important that people like us, but actually, not everyone's going to like you, and that's okay.
Yeah. I
It's
love
fine.
that. Yeah. And we're not going to die, even though it feels like it. Even though, because that was a survival strategy that we used. So in the beginning, it's going to feel like we're going to die if someone doesn't like us or if someone disagrees with us. But we won't die. We will get through it.
Exactly. That people pleasing pattern is redundant now.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've gone past that. It's yeah, don't need that anymore. Like a lot of other things that people carry that we don't need anymore, and we all do it. Yeah,
For
we
sure.
all do it. Yeah, but a lot
Yeah.
of the stuff we just don't need. That could just go, but it takes work to get rid of it.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. Okay, Jen. So, can we have a final piece of wisdom, please? Just to help someone that's starting their journey. Like, what would you like them to know? If you could give them one message.
It's not your fault. It's not you. It's them. And I think what I'd like them to know is that once you understand the patterns, you start to understand that it wasn't you, um, wasn't your fault, particularly if you were the black sheep or scapegoat or whatever. That is just the way they behave. They play people off against each other. Uh, they can never be wrong. I mean, there's such a long list of things, but I suppose that the parting words would be it's not your fault. Now we have the information available widely online. Um, educate yourself. Yeah.
And that is a wrap. Thank you for showing up for yourself, for being here, and please let me know your aha moments. I want to hear all about them. For extra support, make sure you're following me on TikTok and Instagram at the Monica Ferguson. Check out the School of Greatness for self-study courses, and of course, if you want one-on-one mentoring, just DM me, and I would love to have a chat with you. Go and slay the day. Thank you for being you. See you soon.